Sourdough baked rolls, crispy kifli.
Hello. Today I will need a very soft buttermilk bread rolls. They're the kind of bread rolls that you can roll all the way through as you est. Last night I propagated 150 grams of sourdough starter. For this late at NGHT, I measured 20 grams of sourdough, added 80 grams of flour, and 60 grams of water. This is how I got 150 grams of harder sourdough starter. If you breed it late at night, it will last until morning. Now I start kneading. I measure out 150 grams of sourdough. This is what it looks like. I measure 150 grams of sourdough into the bowl. I add 150 grams of lukewarm milk, and 120 grams of water. I mix it a little to dissolve the sourdough in it. I add 15 grams of sugar. I mix it up. Sift 500 grams of flour over it. I will mix the flours now, but you can make it with plain white flour. – 470 grams of white flour, and 30 grams of spelled wheat flour. I'm kneading this now. I will get a stiff dough, but it doesn't need more liquid. I will be able to work with him that way. But I won't have much work to do with it, because now after kneading, I'll put it in a proofing bowl and double it. I won't fold. You didn't have to do anything with it. I start kneading. While I'm kneading, melt 25 grams of butter. Soft, not hot. I add it together with the salt while kneading. I start kneading. When the dough has come together, I add the butter. I work it into the dough using a machine. Then I add the salt. To this amount of dough, I will add 15 grams of salt. You have to wait until the butter is completely absorbed by the dough. Knead the dough well. It will be a good hard dough, but that's not a problem, because the dough will be loose and fluffy. It will depend on the leavening. When the dough has absorbed the butter, I add 15 grams of salt. I kneaded the dough. It takes quite a long time, 10 to 15 minutes, for the dough to come together completely. I take out the dough and knead it a little by hand. I took out a bowl. I oiled hair thinly. I will put the dough in this. I'll correct it a bit. And I mark the side of the box. We will see the growth. This dough should rise almost twice. It will take at least 4 to 5 hours. I'm making it warm now, but I'll look at it later. I will continue when necessary. I'll wait until it doubles in size, then I'll work with it. Until then, I have nothing to do with the dough, the leaven is working.
About 5 hours later, I check the dough.
I'll take out the dough. It took 5 hours for my dough to double in size. But during those 5 hours, I had nothing to do with the dough. It's not difficult to make. Now I'll flour the kitchen counter a little. I roll out the dough. Very nice. I will divide it into 100-gram pieces, which I will shape into dumplings. That's a lot. That's good. This will make 10 bread rolls. I will bake 5 pieces today. I shape the remaining 5 pieces, put them in the fridge, and bake them fresh in the morning. This one got a little bigger. Let's start. I'll flatten it a little. I fold it in the middle with a petal fold. When I feel that the dumpling is very tight, I pinch it at the bottom and pinch the dough together. I round it up. I'll put it aside. I put it on a floured surface. I will press the next one as well. I draw the corners to the center. Feel that the dough is tight. I'll put it together. I round it up. I'll put it aside. Last piece. I tighten it. I pinch the bottom. I round it up. I counted myself, I got 9 pieces. This last one got pretty big. But this quantity can be divided into 10 scoops. If there are 10 pieces, then there will be 1 bread rolls of 80 to 90 grams. I also rolled the last dough. Good dough. Now I cover it with kitchen towel and leave it on the kitchen counter for about 50 to 60 minutes. By then, the dough will come together. It will be springy, and I will be able to stretch it again.
About 50 minutes later, I shape the bread rolls.
50 minutes passed. I start shaping the bread rolls. I put some flour on the kitchen counter where I won't spread it. Dip the dough a little in the flour. I flatten it a little by hand. And I start to stretch. I extend one down, one to the right, one to the left. This is how I stretch it into a triangular shape. I'm stretching it thin. The thinner I roll it, the more coils the bread rolls will have. I always tighten the top a bit. I think this will be good. I start to roll up the rolled out dough. I spin and drive forward with outward motions. I fit the tip here. The tip is always at the bottom so that it does not rise during baking. I band it a little and my bread rolls are ready. I put it on the baking sheet. I'll show you one more. I flatten the dough a little with my fingers. I'm starting. I extend one forward, then one to the right, and one to the left. I'm trying to form a triangle. The dough is springy. One to the right, one to the left. I'll stretch it down as well. so it will be good. I'll roll it up. I'm spinning. I twist it a little outward so that the tips are also nice. I roll up the end, the small joint should always be at the bottom. When TE bread rolls is ready, I bend it a little. You can go to the baking dish. I shaped the bread rolls. I put a nylon on it and leaven it until it can be baked. I think it will be at least 1.5 to 2 hours, but maybe more. It's different for everyone. It depends on the current temperature and kitchen conditions. I expect about 2 hours. I put this baking rack on it so that the nylon does not stick to the dough. I usually put freshly baked bread on this rack. I've tried covering it with nylon and the nylon stuck to the dough. This grid will not allow it to stick. I'm setting this aside like this now, and I think it will be ready in about 2 hours. Sometimes I put it in the oven, but then the oven is not turned on. I won't bake the remaining 5 today. Shaped in the same way, I put it in a baking tray. In the same way, I wrap the tray in nylon and put it in the fridge. I leave it here on the counter for 15 minutes to let it start a little. Then I put it in the fridge and bake it in the morning. If you don't want to bake them all at the same time, you can do it the same way, so you can have fresh bread rolls in the morning. But you can also put the whole dough in the fridge and only take it out tomorrow and distribute it. The next morning, you can take it out, leave it on the counter for an hour to take over the temperature of the room. After that you start working with it, so then you roll it out, then you will roll out the bread rolls. Either solutions works. I chose this now. I will bake the bread rolls soon.
About 2 hours later.
My bread rolls have been rising for 2 hours. I will check them. I've watched it before and I think it's good. It is also noticeably softer to the touch. The finger test also works with bread rolls. If I press it and the mark of my finger slowly comes back and stays there for a little bit, it's risen. I preheated the oven to 200 degrees Celsius, 392 degrees Fahrenheit. I rinse off the chip with water. I sprinkle them with coarse salt. It can be caraway seeds, it can be seeds, according to taste. Now I make salty and many seeded bread rolls. I sprinkle it with a seed mixture. Sesame seeds, flax seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, whatever. When I turned on the oven, I put another container of water in the bottom of the oven. That pot of water heated up together with the oven. This is how I get steam in my oven. Now I'm putting the bread rolls in this steamy oven. After that, I even spray some water into the oven with the syringe. I also blow some more water on this tray. It will bake in a 200 degrees Celsius 392 degrees Fahrenheit oven in 20 to 22 minutes. I also spray some water in the oven. I'll close quickly. I'll check it in 20 to 22 minutes. In the last 5 to 6 minutes, I take out the water container. This way, the bread rolls will be more crispy. If it doesn't brown so much, you can put on the air, stirring in the last 5 minutes. I'll check it in 20 to 22 minutes.
About 20 to 22 minutes later.
20 minutes have passed. I look at the bread rolls. I think it's good. That's how they turned out. I transfer the bread rolls to the grid. Try it. Bake it. It's a little work to make, it takes a long time to prepare, but it's delicious.
Let's see how it turned out.
The bread rolls have cooled down a bit. Let's see how they turned out. I'll take one. You see? It can be wrapped around. It's like that inside. Try it. Bake it. It's easy. If you like my video, like and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.